Yo, ever feel like you're doing everything right, but she still drifts away? Yeah, that silent distance you can't explain. It's not random, it's psychological. There are three pleasure triggers wired deep in female psychology that, once activated, short circuit her resistance no matter how guarded she is. This isn't some pickup fluff. This is behavioral decoding, real psychological triggers, and unapologetic masculine polarity. If you've ever wondered why some men effortlessly spark sexual tension while others get friend-zoned fast, you're about to see the difference. Miss this, and you'll keep guessing. Nail this, and you'll own the game. If this message is connecting with something real inside you, take a second to like, share, and maybe drop a quick comment. It helps this kind of content reach more men who are ready to stop playing blind in the game of emotional control. Let's break it down and decode exactly how these dominance triggers work, and why they hit her feminine response like lightning. Pleasure triggers. No woman can resist. Let's be brutally honest for a second. Most men think they need money, status, or insane looks to be irresistible. But women aren't wired like that. There are invisible levers, hidden inside female psychology, that flip her attraction on without her even realizing it. Call them pleasure triggers. And no, they're not found in some overrated bedroom trick. They live deeper in psychological triggers, where emotional control, nonverbal cues, and masculine energy collide. The moment a man understands these levers, he no longer chases. He chooses. And she responds, instinctively. Picture this. You walk into a room, don't say a word, but she locks eyes with you like she's just been hit by something she can't explain. That's not luck. That's unspoken attraction. It's what happens when a man walks with powerful presence, owning his space without needing validation. One of the core dominance triggers women feel, but can't articulate, is when a man radiates quiet authority. No theatrics, just calm certainty. That's the first layer. And most guys never even realize they've missed it. This isn't about faking alpha energy. It's about crafting your inner game so deeply that your outer game becomes effortless. Women aren't attracted to the noise. They're drawn to the signal. When you become the signal, clear, strong, and grounded, she feels safe, seen, and strangely intrigued. That's behavioral decoding at work. She's not thinking, he's hot. She's thinking, why can't I stop thinking about him? And that, my friend, is where desire activation truly begins. Not on the surface, but in the subtle. Here's what they won't tell you. The first pleasure trigger isn't physical, it's psychological stillness. When you're unshakable, not reacting to drama, not dancing to her emotional rhythms, something primal flips inside her. Her emotional resistance drops. Why? Because she finally feels a man with real emotional mastery. That stillness says, I've seen storms, yours won't move me. It calms her chaos and feeds her craving for polarity. This is masculine polarity in its purest form. She doesn't want control. She wants to surrender. To control she can trust. And here's the real kicker. She doesn't even know this is happening. Her feminine response isn't logical. It's emotional leverage triggered through contrast. When your energy says, I don't need you, but I choose you, she becomes addicted to earning your attention. That's the magnetic paradox. You don't pull her with effort. You attract her with absence of neediness. This is the silent force that builds sexual tension without words. Think tension like a bowstring. Not too loose, not too tight, but always ready to snap into something unforgettable. Now imagine you're sitting across from her. She's smiling, leaning in, laughing at things that aren't even that funny. Why? It's not your joke. It's your energy. She's not reacting to your words. She's responding to the space between your words. That's seduction psychology. When a man uses nonverbal cues intentionally, pauses, eye contact, subtle smiles, it bypasses her brain and speaks straight to her nervous system. Her body leans before her, thoughts catch up. That's not manipulation. That's understanding the dark psychology of how attraction actually operates. One guy I mentored, let's call him Leo, was constantly getting ghosted. Nice guy, smart, fit, but something was always missing. Until one day, we flipped one switch. We worked on his authentic confidence, not the fake it till you make it kind, but the kind built on silence, eye contact, and holding discomfort without chasing. Within weeks, the same women who ignored him were double texting. Why? Because now he walked in masculine polarity, and women felt it. That shift wasn't flashy, but it was irreversible, for them and for him. There's a silent war happening in every conversation. The war between control and surrender. Most guys talk too much, trying to impress, to entertain, to prove they're worthy. But the second emotional control slips, the attraction dies. Women are hypersensitive to this shift. They feel when you're trying too hard. But when you speak less, mean more, and allow silences to breathe, it tells her subconscious, I'm not here to win you, I'm here to see you. And that flips one of the deepest psychological triggers. Let's be clear, this isn't a trick. It's a way of being, one that rewires your entire interaction style. Think about mental reprogramming like this. Instead of reacting with, what should I say? Train yourself to think, how do I want her to feel? Shift the frame. The right emotional cues carry more weight than clever lines. This is how you influence her state, not her logic. When you make her feel something she can't get from others, your presence becomes her addiction, your silence, her stimulus. One of the most misunderstood behavioral patterns in attraction is the tendency to seek validation through agreement. Stop doing that. Disagree, respectfully. Disrupt her thoughts, be unpredictable. That's how stoicism plays its part, not through cold detachment, but through emotional sovereignty. When you don't flinch, apologize unnecessarily, or mirror her views just to keep peace, she feels your spine. That tension creates depth. You're not another echo in her DMs. You're a mirror with edges. And that edge makes her lean in, not walk away. Have you ever watched a woman slow blink when listening to a man? That's not boredom, it's entrancement. The moment a man speaks from grounded, embodied awareness, his words don't just land, they wrap around her mind. This is where sexual dynamics emerge in the subtext. It's not the content, it's the command in your tone, the nonverbal cues laced in pauses and pacing. These small signals hack her nervous system. Not because they're manipulative, but because they match the rhythm of real masculine energy. Calm, composed, charged. Let's drop another gem. When you delay gratification, not just sexually, but emotionally, you trigger what I call curiosity tension. That's a dominance trigger in disguise. It's when you don't reveal your full interest right away. You keep mystery alive. That's what builds anticipation, and anticipation is the currency of feminine desire. Women chase meaning, nuance, layers. Give her all the answers up front, and you kill the game before it starts. Instead, lead with questions, with restraint. Let your inner game be the puzzle she wants to solve. There's something addictive about a man who holds paradox. When you're both firm and warm, mysterious yet open, decisive but not rigid, you become unforgettable. That duality activates her core. It whispers challenge and comfort in the same breath. This duality isn't a trick. It's authentic confidence built from lived experience. You don't need to pretend. You just need to stop hiding your edges. It's in that contrast that her feminine response wakes up. You stop being nice. You start being real. And real always wins. Start noticing the way women respond when you take longer to answer, when you hold eye contact half a second longer than expected. These micro moments, they're emotional leverage tools hiding in plain sight. They tell her you're comfortable in tension. And when a man is comfortable in tension, it feels thrilling to a woman. It's rare. It's intoxicating. That's why sexual tension isn't about touching. It's about holding off. That restraint, when mastered, becomes your most powerful weapon. And it's invisible to almost every man. There's a reason she remembers some men for years, even if they barely touched her. It's because those men activated something she couldn't control. Not through gifts, not through compliments, but through how they made her feel without trying. That's the third pleasure trigger. Emotional contrast. When your presence swings between grounded seriousness and playful unpredictability, it disrupts her expectations. And when her expectations are disrupted, she pays attention. That emotional tension is the seed of obsession. Quiet, slow burning, and almost always underestimated by the average guy. Let's get real. You don't need to master all of this in one day. But the moment you become aware of these behavioral patterns, you stop being confused by her reactions. You start reading her body language differently. You notice what turns her distant and what brings her closer. These aren't just tactics. This is an upgrade in perception, in emotional language, in the art of moving without needing to chase. From this point on, every interaction becomes a chance to experiment with psychological triggers that work. And hey, pause right here with me for a second. If this kind of truth is hitting different, if it's making you replay past situations with new clarity, then don't just watch in silence. Hit that like button now and subscribe, because we're building something real here. Not shallow advice, not recycled nonsense, but raw, tested knowledge most men never get access to. And trust me, what's coming next? It'll flip everything you thought you knew about attraction. So lock in. This journey, it's just getting started. When she says, there's just something about him, this is what she's trying to explain, but she doesn't have the words because it's not about words. It's about inner game. It's about how you breathe, how you move, how you observe. It's the emotional frequency you broadcast without trying. The truth is, women tune into nonverbal cues more than they ever admit. You don't need louder lines, you need deeper silence. That's where your masculine polarity speaks volumes, and her feminine response listens without hesitation. Ever notice how some guys instantly shift the mood of a room just by walking in? That's not charisma, it's powerful presence. It's the result of mastering emotional control so deeply that your calmness overrides other people's chaos. She feels this. She's been conditioned to detect it. Because safety to a woman doesn't come from muscle. It comes from a man who doesn't flinch under pressure. That quiet steadiness, it's sexy in ways most men will never understand. But when you own it, she feels safe surrendering. You don't seduce her by being available. You seduce her by being unpredictable. Seduction psychology is rooted in rhythm, not logic. Think jazz, not classical. She doesn't want to know your next move, she wants to feel surprised. That surprise triggers ancient attraction codes in her brain. Use moments of withdrawal to create desire. Then re-enter with warmth, not desperation. It's this push-pull motion that triggers sexual tension so strong that makes her daydream about you in silence. That's the art of keeping her addicted. Think of your inner game as a locked vault. Not because you're cold, but because not everyone gets access. Women crave depth, but only when it's earned. When you reveal too much, too fast, it robs the mystery. You become a known quantity, and known doesn't excite her. She desires the unknown, so stop dumping your feelings in hopes of connection. Learn to contain your world. Let her peak, not possess. That gap, that sacred space, is what creates emotional leverage without saying a single word. Let's take it back to Leo for a second. After mastering the first pleasure trigger, stillness, he started practicing assertive mindset techniques. He didn't over-apologize. He set boundaries calmly. He started saying no without flinching. And guess what? The same women who once led the dance started following his lead. Because now he had emotional mastery, not performance. He wasn't looking for her approval. He was observing her response. That flip from validation seeker to standard setter is where real attraction starts. And where weak connections die fast. One thing most men overlook, you teach her how to treat you within the first 5 minutes. Through your posture, your pace, your tone. If your energy screams uncertainty, she will mirror back indifference. But if your energy says, I know who I am, without arrogance, she feels it. That's authentic confidence. Not loud, not flashy. Just calm certainty that pulls her in like gravity. You don't need to convince her. You need to anchor her emotions. That's how psychological triggers become emotional anchors she can't unhook from. Want a quick way to test your presence? Walk into a room and say nothing for 15 seconds. Just observe. Don't try to impress. Breathe slower than usual. Ground yourself, then say what needs to be said, nothing more. You'll notice something fascinating. People listen more. Women lean in. That's the quiet authority born from stoicism. You're not reacting, you're radiating. And that radiance is rare. The more you master it, the less you chase. The more you hold it, the more they offer themselves, willingly, eagerly. Here's a shift that rewires everything. Stop trying to impress and start aiming to impact. Impressing lives in the ego, it wants reaction. But desire activation comes from leaving an imprint. When you say something that lingers, when you move with purpose, when your silence feels like a message, she carries that with her. Days later, your presence echoes in her mind. That's not luck. That's behavioral decoding in action. You don't need to be unforgettable to everyone, just to the one who matters. Let's talk about body language, your silent salesman. The way you stand, the angle of your shoulders, your hand movements, it's a symphony she hears louder than your voice. Practice stillness in your gestures. Less movement, more intention. Use pauses. Look at her, then look away slowly. Let your posture say, I'm grounded, not searching. These small shifts in nonverbal cues create visceral attraction. The body speaks to her before your lips do. She responds not because she understands it, she responds because she feels it. Most guys sabotage themselves by filling every silence. But silence isn't empty, it's loaded. When you pause before responding, when you allow her words to land, you signal depth. You're telling her, I'm not in a rush to prove myself. That subtle power is magnetic. It conveys masculine polarity, the still, anchored energy that naturally attracts the flowing feminine response. The next time you're on a date, let a question breathe. Watch how she leans into the gap. That's not awkwardness. That's sexual tension being born. There's one behavior shift that separates high-value men from the rest. Emotional control under pressure. She throws a test. You smile. She goes cold. You stay warm. She pulls away. You stay centered. Not because you're playing games, but because your sense of self isn't shaken by her behavior. That's stoicism in practice. The moment she sees that nothing she does can disturb your core, she trusts you deeper. Not consciously, but emotionally. That trust is the foundation of real intimacy. Quiet, strong, earned. You want to stand out? Master subtle contrasts. Be direct, but soft-spoken. Be calm, but unpredictable. Hold eye contact, then withdraw with mystery. This dance confuses her logic and excites her instincts. That's where dark psychology comes in. Not manipulation, but mastery of emotional contrast. Women don't fall for the loudest guy in the room. They fall for the one they can't read. And when your presence contains opposites, tension and safety, fire and water, she can't categorize you, and that confusion becomes irresistible. Let's zoom out. Everything you've read so far isn't about lines, scripts, or tactics. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need them. It's about aligning your inner game so tightly with your actions that attraction becomes a byproduct. The more you embody these principles, the less effort it takes. Women feel alignment. They smell inauthenticity. They know when a man is playing a role versus living the role. And when you live it, calm, confident, clear, they'll follow your lead without knowing why. Start small. Choose one principle from today and apply it this week. Maybe it's longer eye contact. Maybe it's saying less. Maybe it's practicing emotional mastery by not reacting when she pulls away. These shifts compound. You'll start to notice her reactions change. The way she texts, the way she looks at you, the way she speaks softer. Attraction isn't a lightning strike, it's a rhythm. Build yours, and watch how fast the world starts responding to the man you're becoming. Here's one last insight most men overlook. Women remember how you made them feel during uncertainty, that in-between space where they weren't sure if you were into them but still felt seen. That's where emotional leverage is most powerful. Not manipulation, just contrast. A warm word followed by calm distance. A lingering look, then disengagement. It builds anticipation, and anticipation is where desire activation multiplies. Never give her 100% clarity right away. Give her 80% presence, and let the 20% mystery keep her coming back. You'll know you've mastered this when women stop testing you and start respecting you. Not because you demanded it, but because you modeled it. That's the essence of authentic confidence. No need for bravado, just clean, calm power. You'll notice it in the way she listens, the way her eyes soften when you speak. That's not charm, it's resonance. You've become the man who knows the game without playing games. You've studied female psychology, embraced masculine energy, and finally understood pleasure triggers are internal. And remember, this journey isn't just about attracting women. It's about reclaiming your identity as a man who moves with intention, not impulse. You're developing an assertive mindset, grounded in clarity, not confusion. You're choosing emotional control over chaos. And every small shift you make, from how you sit to how you speak, echoes far beyond the moment. This is mastery by accumulation. Day by day, you become the man she's not just attracted to, but the man she can respect. That's the real win. So the next time you walk into a room, remember, you don't have to chase, overperform, or convince. Just embody what you now know. Let your masculine polarity speak louder than your words. Let your inner game guide your pace. Let your behavioral patterns create attraction without effort. Because the truth is, you've never needed more lines, just more alignment. And the deeper you lean into this path, the more you realize the next level of attraction has less to do with them and everything to do with you. You've got the tools now. The question is, will you actually use them? Will you hold your ground next time she pulls away? Will you speak with presence instead of noise? Will you stop asking how to impress her and start becoming the man who doesn't need to? Because once you activate these pleasure triggers, the game shifts. You're no longer reacting, you're leading. So here's what I want to know. Which of the 3 pleasure triggers hit you the hardest today? Drop your answer in the comments with the words, "Now I see it." Let's see how many men are actually waking up. And hey, if you made it all the way here, I genuinely respect that. Most guys quit halfway, but you didn't. That says something about the man you're becoming. So now, pay it forward. Like this video, share it with a brother who's still stuck in the fog. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Because we're just getting started. In the next drop, it'll take this even deeper. Thanks for watching, my man.